When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gain, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I'm here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gain.
And we're going to talk about today how you can manifest not working. The best way to do that.
Yes. Oh, man. I love it.
Might have been a little bit of a sneaky title.
It is a little sneaky title, but it's awesome. And it's such a good LOA lesson, so it's going to be amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. But first, Jen, what are you excited about?
Well, I'm excited. So Cassie was teasing me earlier because I will send her text and I'll say, I have something so excited to share with you. I can't wait till we talk. And then she's like, and then I just have to wait.
Right. And then I'm like, oh.
Great. I'm so excited. Yeah. And so I said to that a couple weeks ago, what I was really excited about was I'm going to be going on my very first Abraham Hicks cruise. So I'm very excited. We're going to be leaving out of Seattle, and we're going for a week up in Alaska. And this has been on my dream list for years, and it just felt so right. And there was timings. I'll just share. So what happened? There was two things that happened before the actual, I had the thought, I'm like, I wonder when Abraham's going to be opening up their cruises again after COVID and everything has been shut down. I'm like, okay, cool, probably soon. And then something else came into my experience of being in Alaska, and something else about a cruise. And then I received a text from my beautiful wife, and she said, birthday cruise in Alaska, because it'd be just after my birthday. And it was just like an immediate yes. Like, if it was probably the clearest hell yes experience I've ever had in my life. And there have been times before when I've considered it and I'm like, too much money. Nope, doesn't feel good. Too many details. And none of that mattered. Like, the feeling was so overwhelmingly powerful and exciting and yes and right. And that was what made that experience so freaking fun for me, is like just getting to experience the clarity of that hell yes. So that's what I'm excited about.
Yay! Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah. What are you excited about, Cass?
I love it. I am just excited about the life I get to lead. And last night I interviewed a group of clients that are they call them like the class of living their dream 2026.
Cool.
Because I work with people for 5 years, and it was just so cool. And I love that experience because it's different than just coaching. It's really talking about how people have grown and getting to talk about that, and inspiring everybody on a different level. That happens every day, but just so honored that I get to be on all my clients' journey, but also that I get that extra, we get to talk about it in that way, and we get to connect like that. So just feeling extra love for my life today.
Oh, you're feeling all gooey love. That's so fun.
I am. It is fun. Yeah.
That's so good. All right, so diving into our topic, I feel like everyone must, at some point in their life, have had the desire, I don't want to work, right? Raise your hands, guys. I can't see you, but raise your hands.
We're going to talk about how I did this and did it, in the ways that are kind of wrong that we're going to talk about. Yeah.
Yes. And so I think that's where this, and that desire not to work, let's just talk about where that comes from to start.
I mean, I think it comes from not liking work, and
wanting
where else
freedom.
Do you think it comes from?
Yes. That's our nature. We are meant to be free. And when we feel like we have to go to work, or we have to do anything for that matter, but we have to go to work, and then on top of it, it's something we don't like to do, we want to get away from that. And that's where this starts. That's what we're going to talk about. Like when you don't like something going on in your life and you feel like you have to get away from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we tend to focus on the getting away, right? I would even say, I get that it comes from freedom, but for me, that freedom to realize, oh, that's what I really want, was after I had focused, because our initial thought is to focus on what we don't want. Oh, I want to manifest not working.
Yes.
And I hear people say that, like, and I will see comments like that in different places, like, oh, I want to manifest not working. Like, oh, okay, what do you really want?
Yeah.
Right? And I did that for years. I tried to manifest not working. Guess what I got? To keep working.
Where attention goes, energy flows.
That's right. Even if you think you are, when you're focused on what you don't want, you are not focused on what you want, even if you think you are.
And you're just in the complete opposite of the vibration that, like, the complete opposite vibration, but what you don't want and what you want are different, completely different spaces. So you can't even line up with the path if you're trying to get away from something, because it's all about getting away from it.
Yes. So I always I said this in one of my books, like a lot of people will try and manifest away, but you really want to manifest toward. So you want to think about, what am I moving towards? What do I want? Yeah.
I just want to give that some space here, because it's a really big one in manifesting, is not going away from what you don't want and going towards what you do want. So to let the vision or let the dream pull you versus the uncomfort push you away.
Yes.
Your manifesting will reach a whole new level when you start to trust that pull. And you start to, when you acknowledge the push, and Cass and I have both done this, you acknowledge the push, and then if you can see it and let it be and not act on it, or not be like overtaken almost by the pushing energy, and you're like, wait, this isn't the energy I want. This is the pushing. This is the trying to get away from the thing I don't want. And if I don't do that, then I leave space for the vision to pull me.
Yes. And so first is really awareness. And I still have to catch this. I have to be aware. Like, oh, okay. Oh, man, that's what I don't want. Like, what do I want? And sometimes that takes a minute to figure out. And sometimes it takes a week to be open with that question of, what do I really want? Mm-hmm.
I've done this off and on in my business for the past 8 years.
Me too. That is where it probably comes most a lot of the time, I think. And if you're in business, a lot of things are programmed for that. There's a lot of stuff out there that is programmed to fix the problem instead of asking for what you want.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I hear it a lot in, I want to win the lottery so I don't have to work, so that I can, have what I really want. But the focus is on the how versus what the really want is the freedom.
Yes. Yeah. And so even when you're focused on winning the lottery, if it's in so I don't have to work, it's still in that energy of what you don't want. It's not clean.
Yeah.
Going into it and working on attracting it, is that energy is not clean, because it's still pushing against something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you can manifest anything. You can manifest winning the lottery, but your vibe for that isn't going to be attached to getting away from something else. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Say that again. Explain that more for our listeners.
So if you're someone who wants to win the lottery or a large sum of money unexpectedly, it's about that experience. It's not about what you're going to be leaving behind. It's like we really have to find a way to feel into the experience we want. So that's going to be the experience of freedom and probably some element of excitement. But that's it. That the finding that pure vibration versus, oh my God, if I could win the lottery, then, you know what I mean? Like it's that experience. It's the same with any manifestation. When we were talking about doing this topic, what immediately came for me was I try to get away. I'm like, I want to hire a chef so I can not cook. Or like, I want to have someone make my meals so I don't have to cook. And it's just tied up. There's resistance in that desire so often there's an element of acceptance required there. If I just stop pushing against the fact that I need to cook to nourish my body, then that's the place I line up with the best solution, whether that's a chef or not, you know?
Exactly. Like the place where you line up.
Yeah.
And for me, I go back, and maybe our listeners have heard this story before, but, you know, I wanted to build my business so I didn't have to go to work.
Yes.
So I was pushing and pushing and pushing and investing money and pushing other things and pushing my time and my energy to build my business, and it did not get built. A little tiny drop. I did squeeze out some little tiny drops of business when I was pushing. But when I had a moment, I was in my car. I can't tell you when it was. I can't tell you where I was going, but I know it was in my car. And I was like, this isn't working. Like, what do you want? Right? And when that freedom, I want freedom. I want that. That's what I want to create. I could put down that pushing with my business. And it was within 6 months that I was financially independent enough to walk away and not work. Mm-hmm. And I worked another year because I wanted it to be better. You know, I wanted it better. But that pin, when I was financially independent enough that I did not have to go to work, was 6 months away, where I had been pushing for probably 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you put a time frame on it, because I think that's actually a really powerful time frame. We talk about a year, but as well, and the power in that. But a lot can happen in 6 months. Mm-hmm. And especially with business and being able to manifest not working, that's a realistic, reasonable time frame. I love that you shared that. One other thing that it feels like needs to be highlighted is the idea that when we're trying to do it to get away from something, so say when we're trying to build a business so that we can stop working, we're focused on the outcome way more than we are the process of what we're doing. We're not building a business because we love to build a business. And actually, that, for anyone who's listening, that is probably actually a part of what you're doing, and you're probably just having a bit of split energy, because I feel like our listeners are tuned in enough to do what they love. If they're listening to us.
I mean, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And I will say, just from, sharing my story, is that I thought I was doing it, for whatever reason, I thought I was using the law of attraction. I did love what I thought my business would be. I did love helping people.
Yes.
I was doing a little bit different than coaching. It was more energy work with thoughts and beliefs. But I loved the moments that I was getting to do the parts of my business that were that. Mm-hmm. But I didn't love the rest of it, right? Mm-hmm. And so that pushing, everything was getting overshadowed. The parts that I love was getting taken over with the parts that I didn't love. Yes. And so I think it can happen. The point of what I want to say is that I agree with you. Our listeners probably know how to do what they love. And if you're focused on pushing away from something, very often that what you love can get diminished and covered up by all of this other stuff. Or at least it did for me. And I would love if they're further along because they've been listening to us than I was back then.
Yeah. That's like one of the biggest reasons we do this. So you guys can move through the stuff faster, because we did it slower.
Yeah.
So
We
I think
did.
you're right. Like the stuff that we don't like, the stuff that we're pushing against sometimes feels bigger or stronger or overrides all the stuff that the ways we are being pulled. So what, if you can remember, Cass, was like the biggest switch in that happened for you?
Just realizing like I want freedom. And so and something clicked. I think I had actually started to put things down because I was just like kind of fed up and I wanted to live. I was having this yearning of like, you're not living a life. You want to create a life, but you're not living it right now.
Wait, guys. That is so important. You're trying to create a life, but you're not living it right now. You're missing the whole point. Like you create your life by living it now. That's what all the beingness that we talk about is about.
Absolutely. And so I think in that moment I started to work a little less. And as I started to work a little less, I probably started to work then a little bit more less, or a little less. I don't know how to say that. Less and less, right? And then I had that moment of clarity, and then it was easy because what happened is that moment of clarity, and it was a while. It wasn't like, oh, instantly here's the path.
Yeah.
It was at least a month or 2 months before inspiration hit, which I didn't even know in the moment was connected to that.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it was just this little inspiration one day when I was having a great weekend. It was total self-care. I was living. And just Sunday morning, I picked up my computer and the inspiration was, I wonder what the least expensive place to buy in Denver is. No idea where that came from. Like I'm cooking breakfast and all of a sudden like, I'm just curious. And that really started to, just that one inspiration, that curiosity that I followed, that inspiration is what started opening the path.
Yeah. And it was like one step at a time. Was there any kind of major or significant, like how did you start to think differently about work then? Because maybe before it was like, I got to get away from this. I hate this. This sucks. I don't know. So what shifted in terms of how you were looking at work?
You know, I think one of the biggest shifts is that I stopped thinking about work.
Awesome.
Like I started thinking about that freedom. I started thinking, and it was fun. Like creating my freedom was fun. I started thinking about investing in real estate, and that was fun. I started thinking, putting my energy and focus not on the doing, even though it was the doing, right? But what I was inspired to do. That just sort of naturally took over my focus. And I started to, I pretty quickly realized like, okay, work is temporary. I am, I could start to see the evidence, like I'm going to get to leave. This is going to work out.
Yeah.
Like this is happening. And, there was something else I wanted to share where I put my energy. It escaped me, but I really just started to put the focus on that. And I think less on work. And I really started to live as if. So I stopped sort of working unless I was, redoing a place on my Friday off, which I loved. I saw it as an investment in my future instead of, I have to do this work to get to this place. I really started to live my Fridays off better. So when I had a day off from work, or I'd intentionally take a day off of work and not do errands, not do what you do when you have to go back to work on Monday, but live how you would live if you didn't have to go back to work on Monday. Not worrying about, I got to get all those things done on the weekend, but really having a day where I'm enjoying, I'm going for a 2-hour walk, I'm going to yoga and then to breakfast with my friend, versus trying to get a bunch of errands done. I really started to live into that freedom.
I'm just like smiling so much. It's such a big, it's such a big shift, and we can all do this. This is available. No matter how trapped you might feel in work, there is enough room to start making this shift towards moving towards the freedom, or whatever it is, moving towards the thing you really want. I think it's when we're talking about how to manifest not working, the biggest almost takeaway is to just stop giving so much energy to the work. Like just let it be there. And yes, you have to go to your job 9 to 5 or whatever it is, but don't give it your emotional energy. Just let it be and watch how quickly something opens up for you.
Mm-hmm. And make sure you're enjoying the time you're not there. You know, I think so often people are like, oh, I don't want to do this, but they're not using their free time. They want to create freedom, but they're not using their free time and leveraging their free time. And that doesn't mean you have to do a million things, but it does mean you have to be consciously choosing how you're using your free time so that you are creating more of what you want.
Yeah. Feel free in your free time. That's it. That's a success in itself. And that is enough to tune into that pulling part that we're talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome. Anything else you want to say to wrap up?
Yeah, I just wanted to give an example for the cooking thing, right? Mm-hmm. You can find a way to make it easier, right? To take some of that energy, right?
Just a side note, this is Cassie just coaching me. Okay, find a way to make it easier.
Do things like plan or cook ahead or think of what's easy, because you can take away some of the parts that make it harder, right? And lift some of that energy. And so that might take a little bit of playing with, okay, how do I do that? But sometimes it is planning. Sometimes it is, cooking all at once. So you don't have to do it 5 days in a row. You just do it one day, or you do it every 4 days, and really just planning that out to give yourself that break and asking yourself, how could I make this easier? How could I make this more fun? How can I love to do this, right? Which might be a stretch, but still start opening up the question.
Yeah. I love how this is a great example of how taking action can create some space for new inspirations to come in. So doing the meal planning, actually taking those different actions or group cooking, things like that, can give space then during the week so it's easier to feel different about it, because we still have to shift how we're thinking about it. We can't take the actions and then still hate it, still be pushing against, saying, oh my God, I have to do that again on Sunday. We have to
right.
We have to do both, like take the action, milk the relief, and step into the experience that you really want.
Yes, milk the relief. So anytime you would catch yourself thinking like, oh, I have to do it again on Sunday, you just bring yourself back to, but I'm eating and I didn't cook today.
Yeah, exactly. Bring it back to the present and what's happening now. Love it.
Awesome.
All right, guys, have an amazing week. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Hi, it's Cassie. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Manifest It Now. I hope you're ready to go out and be extra awesome. If you're looking for more resources, support, ways to engage with LOA or shift your money mindset, you can go to CassieParks.com. That's CassieParks.com and click on complimentary, like cocktails, coaching. Go to CassieParks.com and click on complimentary coaching for more in-depth into LOA, how to shift your money mindset, how to identify your money story, and even more to help you go be even more awesome. CassieParks.com, complimentary coaching.
Go be awesome! Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.